Hi, today as part of our Business Spotlight program, I'm with Irene Frisby, and she's CEO of FQS. Their head office is based in Kilkenny. But over to you, Irene. What is it you're doing for how long have you been doing it?
Hiya, Kevin. Thanks very much for having us on today. Well, Kevin, I'm CEO and Director of FQS Limited, FQS Pharma UK, and FQS Industries. So FQS Industries is the holding company, and then we have offices based in Kilkenny, FQS Limited, and Belfast, FQS Pharma UK. So we're primarily what we started out as was a consultancy company to support pharmaceutical manufacturers, wholesalers that are wholesaling medicinal products, and marketing authorization holders, which are register medicinal products onto different markets. So we have consultant QP. So QP is like what you see in a pharmacy. A pharmacist releases the product to a patient. A QP releases the product in the manufacturing plant and makes it fit and signs it off fit for sale. And it goes out to the pharmacies and the hospitals and the patients, etc. And ORP then is the person that's over the wholesale part of it. And we have contract ORPs, contract QPs. We also do temperature mapping, which we assess the warehouse to make sure it can store medicinal products. And we help with general quality management system support to companies. So in 2005, we started off, and while I was on maternity leave with my first baby, I registered FQS Limited and started working from there. And then in 2007, I handed in my notice. So people thought I was absolutely crazy at the time. I was pregnant on my second child and heading out into this business. But yeah, no, it's worked out good. So we've had lots of changes. I suppose, as I said, we primarily started as a consultancy company, but now in 2025, in 2024, then we actually got our own manufacturing importation authorization and our own wholesale distribution authorization. So the difference, I suppose, a lot of people ask, well, what's the difference if you're a QP and our contract QP at the moment, as a contract QP, we go in and we're on different site licenses. So whatever the manufacturing site, if they're manufacturing medicinal product, they have a QP and they're registered on the license. But having our own license now allows us to QP certify products and fit for sale for market under the FQS Limited, under the FQS Pharma UK license. So that license is actually based in Belfast, so it's under the MHRA authority in Northern Ireland, and it facilitates us to QP certify our product fit for sale for the market. So we help companies import product from outside the UK and the EU and bring it into the UK or the EU and release it for market.
Fantastic. So if I bring something in from, I don't know where, India, you can have a look at it and then certify it as safe to be distributed within the market you're in.
Exactly. I suppose it's more than just when it comes in. We actually have to ensure the site is the EU GMP equivalent. The competent authority also goes over to the site. But any product that's coming in from outside the EU has to be QP certified by an EU QP. So that's just saying that it's in compliance with the EU requirements, and each batch then is fit for sale.
And QP, is it what, a qualified person? Is that right?
That's correct, actually, yeah, and that's actually a legal term. So that's the I suppose they are. So farmers can be a QP, a pharmacist, or you can go to, and do a course in it. And there's previously it was only in Trinity that you could do the course, and now you can do it in the Royal College of Surgeons and also in at loan, but it enables you then to release the product fit for sale. You have, I suppose, the educational and experience behind you. So before you do that course, you can't come straight out and go and do that course. You have to have a number of years experience, I suppose. And there's a lot of understanding to the products before you actually sign them off that they're fit for sale for the market.
Well, yeah, we want to keep it. And RP is a
So RP is the responsible person. So the
yes.
RP is what's listed on a wholesale distribution authorization. So
Mm.
it's like a QP in a manufacturing plant, and then in your distribution site, so like at your warehouse and your logistics center, your RP is there, and they're just managing the quality management system and ensuring your products are stored and transported in line with the legal requirements.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, great. It's good. Great. You're keeping us all safe. That's fantastic. I mean, yeah.
and lots of abbreviations. So apologies about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Meant to warn you on that one.
Yeah, there is that. I remember a guy saying to me, "Yeah, you avoid using TLAs." You know,
Yes. Yeah, the acronyms in the pharma industry is unbelievable, and every company you go into can have slightly different acronyms. I suppose there's generic ones, and then there's company specific ones, and it can all get a bit confusing.
right, right. And I mean, the drugs themselves have up to three different names, I think, as well, don't they? Or,
Yeah, no, absolutely, they do. Yeah.
right. Well, beyond me. But anyway, going back to yourselves, what do you know? You've been growing over since 25, or sorry, 2005. What do you attribute your growth to?
So I believe you have to be very adaptable and have a very clear vision. I'm always making lists of things I need to do, and I suppose where we need to get to as a business. So we review it, I suppose, as a group, and I do try involve the team more. So I suppose as I started in 2005, it was just myself,
Mhm.
and now there's a team of 10 or more of us, and then also some contractors and some part-time people also. But it's to involve the team, I think, and I think it's just, it's a lot of commitment and hard work and continuous improvement, and always looking, I suppose, as you go through things, and we've seen this over the years, you'll have different targets, and when you reach that target, it's important to see, well, what's the next target and where can I go? Because I find the minute you start standing still, the business stands still, and you just need to keep moving, keep continuous improvement, keep adapting, because it's a very changeable world. People, companies are changeable, and I suppose, you need to be able to change with that, and you need to understand what's happening and what your clients actually need. And I think the needs change, I suppose, definitely year to year, as we've seen, with, COVID, Brexit, all of these things, companies' needs have changed massively. And I suppose us as contractors need to be able to change with those needs and be able to fulfill what the client actually needs.
Fantastic. I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, yeah, every year there's something it seems to be these days, and next year there'll be something else.
Yes.
Also, you know, something
Yeah,
else.
exactly.
So no, that's fantastic. Knowing what our clients, having the clear vision, and as you say, constant. Well, to paraphrase old Tony Robbins, constant, never-ending improvement, or Kaizen to quote the Japs. But yeah, fantastic. Um, okay, so well, here's one. If you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
So I I think the biggest one would be to emphasize on the building the systems and processes from the very beginning. So in the last 2 years in particular, we've put a lot of time and effort into systems and processes to make sure that we can actually build the business, and the focus can be and that we can get results from the focus that we're giving it. And really, I felt that we needed to put the systems and processes in place. So, for example, in 2023, 2024, we got a learning management system. So that not alone helps with our continuous professional development internally, but also then I suppose we had a new offering, and we started putting CPD courses up online for people to train on. So, like, for example, the RP training course, where we could give them our learnings and also apply, the legal requirements to it. And that helps us to grow in terms of training can be a massive burden, particularly on a small company. But
Mm.
training is so important. If you don't train the people, they're not going to know. And also, I find, I suppose, the biggest frustration of all is, something going wrong once is bad enough, but it happening a second time because there's someone else dealing with it and not learning from it, it just drives me crazy altogether. So that's the one thing that I suppose I like to avoid, is reoccurring issues, and really to build in good training and good standards there. So that electronic training system has really helped us. And the second thing that I'd have changed is we've got an electronic quality management system which houses all our documentation, our technical agreements with our suppliers and our customers, our audits that we audit from the manufacturing site. It has a maintenance list, and it gives you a trigger that such an audit is due in the next 6 months. So it gives you the opportunity to to manage things, and you have different dashboards, and so it's built for us, I suppose, to grow and enable us, as we're now got our own manufacturers importers authorization, where we can QP certify product from different third countries, so from the likes of India, China, the US, where you can bring in products for the EU market. Lots of those markets have spent massive money on R&D, and there's a massive market here for it in terms of the EU market and also the UK market, and to get those products into here benefits both parties in relation to having products available to patients at the end of the day.
Fantastic, fantastic, Irene. That's absolutely brilliant. And I know our founder Brad Sugars was asked once, what if I train the people and they leave? And his response was, well, what if you don't train them and they stay?
Yeah. Exactly, which can be a bigger problem. I absolutely agree.
So fantastic. No, that's brilliant. I again couldn't agree with you more. And going on that thing, what have been your biggest learnings as an employer since you began in business?
So for me, I think the biggest learning is you actually have to invest in the people and not just the roles. So you have to know the people. I suppose it's a two-way. It doesn't just work for the employer, because if it's working for the employer well, it's also working for the employee well. They have to be happy in the role. They have to, it's to get that balance. And I suppose, going back to COVID times again, and everyone was working remotely at the start, and everyone was absolutely, some people were absolutely delighted, and some people absolutely hated it. And then after a while, I think, the remote work, it's nice to have it, but it's good to have the contact as well with the team and to build the team. So, I feel team building is very important, and it's important to have the team meetings, the team get-togethers, to have that collaboration is really important, for communication, and then also to have that flexibility where that you can work from home. And I suppose it's important. Like, everybody has a busy life now, and it's important to build that flexibility in, I suppose, for family life as well. Like, I can completely understand. I have 4 kids myself, so I understand working and being a mother, and that's busy role. And a mother, and I'll say it myself, your first priority will always be your children. So I suppose you have to give people that flexibility to be able to make the appointments, make the school concerts, etc. So I think that's really important.
Fantastic, fantastic. No, I couldn't agree more. And I think it's always been important, but I think, as you said, since COVID, it's become even more so, the whole well-being concept, etc., so that,
Yes,
and it pays,
absolutely.
in my experience anyway, it pays back dividends, multiple times, with,
You said it does, because a happy employee will be a happy employer. You get a lot more out of the person that's happy in their work.
yep, that's right. I mean, if you look at some of the studies, it can be up to 3 times more productive, basically.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's just massive for any company. Um, Well, we probably touched on this a bit, but how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
Yeah, well, that can be difficult, and I think it was particularly difficult, I suppose, at the start, when it was just myself, and in 2000, and 5 till about 2018, it was just myself as a contractor, and particularly being listed on a license as a QP. If you have an urgent product, you have to be there to be able to release it. And it was difficult, and you have to have clear boundaries. And I thought in 2018, when I went, and took on more employees, I thought, oh, this is definitely going to give me my work-life balance. But to be honest with you, it brought a different set of things onto my plate that I suppose I hadn't really envisaged.
Okay.
Being an employer. So really, I suppose you do have to put in intentional and effort and clear boundaries to get that work-life balance.
Fantastic. Yeah. And I think, as you mentioned earlier, investing in the team and training and being able to delegate roles to them, and that they,
It's Yeah, I think that's really important to have a strong team behind you and a team that you can trust. And in order to do that, you have to train them. And again, going back to they have to be happy to take on that role as well. And again, that's your keeping your employees, I suppose, content and having that balance there really.
Fantastic. And I suppose just on that thing, what qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you foster? I think you probably touched a bit on it, but how do you foster a positive and productive work environment? So I suppose
So
what are you looking for when you take them on? I suppose is the main thing we haven't touched on yet.
yeah, so I integrity and adaptability is really important.
Okay.
A strong communication because they're going to be communicating with lots of different clients and um, hard worker really and just genuine willingness to learn, want to learn. I suppose a lot of our employees come from companies, from large manufacturing companies where you can go into a company and you can be slotted into a department and you might be working on one particular part of the process. Whereas you come into us and each of the projects, they can be very, very different and you have to adapt, you have to upskill, you have to learn, you have to be able to communicate. So there's lots of things going on and it's so really, a lot of the time we do need multitaskers, we need adaptability. And I suppose the one thing in interviews is I try to highlight the differences between working in a manufacturing site and working in a consultancy company or a company like ourselves, because it can be very different, I suppose. And we're smaller as well. And that's different. Whereas, people, if they're used to a department size of 30 or 40, in a company size of a couple of hundred, and then they come in here and it's much smaller. But I suppose what we try to foster is that you can go to anybody within the group if nobody knows it all. So we try to share our experiences and try to make sure everybody learns from it, and that you never feel that you're making a decision on your own. Share the information, and we help each other, I suppose, through the different projects.
Fantastic. Yeah. So collegiate atmosphere, I suppose, is what you're
Yeah,
putting together.
absolutely.
Fantastic. And I suppose just to finish off, Irene, what are some common misconceptions about running a business, and how do you address them?
I think the biggest misconception is that when you're your own boss, you can call your own hours and you've got total freedom. But I suppose, in one way, there is lots, there can be lots of flexibilities, but there's also lots of demands that go with that. And, at times, there is a lot, you're answerable to a lot, I suppose. And when you have employees as well, you're answerable to what they do as well. So it goes back again to the training. If you haven't got them trained, how are they going to do the job in line with what's expected of them? And I think the second misconception is lots of people think success comes, very quickly and it's all very easy. And, it's just, particularly I think when I went out on my own first, lots of people were saying to me, oh, I'm thinking of going self-employed. And I'm thinking, you just need to know all that goes with that, and don't get me wrong, there's plenty, I enjoy it. I absolutely do. But there's lots of hard work.
Yeah, I know. We do that one as the couple of questions. Why'd you go into business? Before you went in, why'd you decide to go in and say, oh, to make more money and have more time? And the
Yeah,
follow-up question is, how's that working out for you?
exactly.
And
Definitely less time, I think.
yeah. Well, that's one of the things we do in the whole coaching side is we can, and you're on the right track with the training, the systems, the role, defining roles, and being able to delegate. You can then get yourself up to that level where, our definition of a business is a commercial profitable enterprise that works without you. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the goal. Yes, we can make the money and all that kind of stuff, but have you put in the systems, done the training, and it's constant training. It's ongoing. And the concept is that, you generate the cash, invest in the people and the systems. They then look after the customers who then look after you, which is the virtuous.
Exactly. It's the full system and it keeps on turning.
Yeah, yeah, this
Yes.
is it. This is it. So this is it. Listen, Irene, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. There's some great stuff in there for our viewers. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day between the maternal requirements and the business. So
Thank you very much, Kevin. I've enjoyed it.